I want to ask you guys a question as well. This is probably going to trigger another interesting debate. David Ornstein has come out this afternoon, and I'll quote what he said here, that Frenkie de Jong to Man United will eventually happen, depending on what person you listen to. It's a game of poker with Barcelona. Erik ten Hag wants to build around Frenkie de Jong, who he loves clearly. Do you guys feel that Man United, I mean, it feels like United will get it done. A lot of people are saying we're begging. I'll give my take on it in a bit. But do you guys feel like Man United are bending over too far to sign Frenkie de Jong? Or do you believe that they're approaching this in the right way? Or do you feel like are United coming across desperate in your opinions?
United are desperate. See, here's the thing. It's because United
I
are in
don't
a
think
lose-lose
so.
situation because it's like you.
How?
Because De Jong has, because he is important for United. So because of basically it's tricky. De Jong is important, but he's only important if you bring other players in. If United like shake the whole earth and everything and gets freaking Frenkie, and that's on all it is Frenkie playing with Fred Flintstone and Scott McSauce, United ain't going anywhere. It has to be him with other skilled midfielders as well. But the thing though is this guy has said, I'm happy at Barca. Barca is cool. I don't want to go to United. And let's be real, nobody willingly leaves Barcelona or Real Madrid to go anywhere. You get forced out. So nobody leaves Barcelona to now go to any other club because you can't go higher than Barca or Real. That's just, it is what it is. So if Frank is going, it's if Barca are literally pushing him out, saying piss off, because we need to open up the whole wage structure. But Frank himself is saying, I don't want to go. The only thing that will be attracting me is Daddy, aka Ten Hag. But I don't want to play with a 38-year-old geriatric called Cristiano. So, but United need him for Ten Hag's system. So it is what it is.
I mean, this is their number one target. Don't you have to work it a little bit with your number one target? I mean, it's important for them to get the signing done. And I don't think there's anything out there that would make me think that Manchester United don't have the ability or the funds to get more players than just Frenkie de Jong. Unless they can't walk and chew gum at the same time, I would imagine that they're working on other deals as well. It looks like they want to get Eriksen too. So I think you kind of have to twerk a little bit for your number one target, especially when you're not as attractive. I know Arsenal, we know that, like when you're not, and I think this is the first time that Manchester United, especially the fans, are feeling it. Welcome. Welcome. When you're not as attractive as you used to be, you got to twerk a little bit. You got to get on the pole. You got to do it. Like, because it just, you're not as attractive as you used to be. Like, and I see some Manchester United fans, I'm like, ooh, they're feeling it for the first time. But I think they have to do whatever it takes to get their number one target, because whatever else is out there is not. Frenkie de Jong is a class player. I mean, half hope, do you not rate him or, what? Because there's not a lot of players out there like him.
No, in my opinion. Look, Frenkie, he's really good, but he isn't like this amazing supernova talent and so forth. Like, let's be real. Like, if you get him, he plays in a double pivot, so you have to get him with other guys as well. He isn't like this supernova, amazingly talented guy like a Modric, Xavi, Iniesta. No, he ain't that kind of guy. Hence why, if you're getting Frenkie, you have to know for sure we're also getting 2 or 3 guys as well. If you're only all in for Frenkie and thinking that Frenkie alone will change United, oh no, hell no, then no. So it's like, let's be real, Frenkie is not world class. He isn't amazing. He flopped at Barcelona. Barca will not miss him. Like Pedri and Gavi are way better than Homeboy.
Don't you think flop's very harsh? I have to flop is being very harsh. I would say that he's struggled. I think that he's struggled.
This is a bad era for Barcelona as well. So
yeah, I think he's struggled, but I think the fact that he's come out numerous of times and said he's flattered that they're interested, but I'm at the biggest club in world football and I'm happy where I am, because he's come out and said that so many times. I think it comes across very desperate from Manchester United to still pursue the deal, knowing that you are Manchester United at one, not even just one stage, just 5-10 years ago, you were the biggest club in world football, and you can go to these clubs and take their players. And it's not like Frenkie de Jong is their best player or important to them, like Have Hope has said. He's just a player, a part of the system. So Man United should be very easy to be able to be like, look, I want you to come and be our main player, and he should accept it. The fact that he's not turned it down, but not being open to the move is very telling to where Man United are. And as just said, it's a reality check, one that you guys have needed for a long time.
It's real.
I kind of agree with you, John, to be fair, because I think I agree with Jess and Jules together, to be honest with you, because I think United, if that's the player that you want, and if that's what Ten Hag wants, then you kind of got to do everything you can to get them, right? But on the other hand, if this was my club, and you keep seeing these reports of he said X, Y, and Z, it's a little bit. You do start to think as a fan anyway, because we're not in the boardroom. We don't know what's actually being said.
Girl. Vlahovic.
Yeah. You know,
it's brutal.
It's a little bit worrying.
So I look at it the other way. There's a few things on this Frenkie de Jong deal, and I've kind of been rethinking it over the last few days. There's zero desperation, in my opinion. Were Real Madrid desperate in 2009 when they signed Ronaldo? Were we calling them a desperate club? A year earlier, Ronaldo signed a new deal. He did say that he said that he's going to play with heart and soul. I remember being interviewed before the 2009 Champions League final. Are you going to leave this summer? I'm happy here. I'm at the biggest club in the world. This is something players say when they have whether they have a desire to leave or they not. And we knew Ronaldo wanted to leave, but he still said, no, I'm happy here, biggest club in the world, all that jazz. I'm going to play with heart and soul and this type of thing. It's very, very normal for a player to do this, because if Man United and Barca don't come to an agreement, he has to face those Barcelona fans next year. Equally, were Real Madrid desperate when they signed David Beckham, Jordan?
What was that, sorry?
Were Real Madrid a desperate, pathetic club when they signed David Beckham?
Obviously not desperate, but it's different. They attracted him from you guys, and it wasn't like they had to beg for him to come.
It's not true. United aren't begging for anybody to come. David Beckham sat in his car after Fergie told him he was leaving and cried his eyes out because he didn't want to leave Manchester United.
That's fair. Do you know why?
It's not about begging. I want to finish my point here. Sorry. Yeah. People are calling it this. 5 weeks Man United have been working on this deal. The difference between us and a lot of other clubs is that we're the biggest club. We are the biggest club in the world, especially when it comes to social media and media. Facts are out there to be seen. People can laugh all they want, but we simply are.
The shampoos, yeah.
It's not about that. I mean, if you look at the amount if you do the research into how many tweets about the Premier League are made and what percentage attribute to Man United, it's a huge percentage out of 20 teams that play in the league. We've been working on this deal for 5 weeks, and everybody's saying it's desperate and long. Yuri Tillemans to Arsenal, 12 months in the making, that deal to get it over the line. Liverpool for Darwin Núñez. Their own top journalists were talking about the players, and the club chirped him up and chatting to him all the way back in February and March. For 3-4 months working on that deal. Jesus to Arsenal. People are praising it, saying, what great business. The first major report about that came out around about the 31st of March. So 2.5-3 months, the deal still isn't done. Suddenly, Man United are dealing with a situation with Barcelona where they're trying to hike the price up. A player that isn't in a desperate need to move, but is willing to, but is remaining professional. We're 5 weeks in, and we're being told that this is abnormal. This is desperate. 5 weeks is far too long. When you actually do your research into most transfers, they're never a week. They're never 2 weeks. They're never 3 weeks. This is a fallacy. I bet when things are delved into and looked into a bit more detail, I bet you Spurs have been working on Yves Bissouma for a while. I bet they didn't start a week ago working on Yves Bissouma. I bet it's been weeks and weeks and weeks.
Do you know what this reminds me of, Terry? It reminds me of when Tottenham were running down after Bastoni all those weeks. That's what it reminds me of, because he come out a few times. He said, I'm happy at Inter. I want to stay at Inter. And that's very similar to De Jong. He said, I'm happy here. I want to stay here. And it's not a waste of time, because he will eventually come. You guys are going to cough up the money. But it still comes across desperate, being as big as you are, having to tell this player, look, I want you to come. And he's come out and saying, I'm happy where I am.
By your same logic, you are a desperate club having Harry Kane play for you.
What was that? Sorry, cut out.
Yeah, of course, you're desperate for having Harry Kane in your team. You must not want Harry Kane.
We're desperate for Harry Kane. I am desperate for Harry Kane. We would do anything to keep Harry Kane at Tottenham.
Again, so it depends on your definition of desperate. Of course, Man United are desperate for a world-class midfield player. All of our clubs are desperate for world-class players.
Terry, would you care? Do you care? At the end of the day, do you care about the perception if you get him? You don't care, do you?
I don't personally care, because I don't feel that it's desperate. I find it hilarious watching rival fans try to play down the fact that Man United, who are in the mud, that are dead, that every single summer since Fergie left, we're never attracting anybody, we're not signing anybody, and we pull them in. The only reason we fail is not about a lack of pull or spend. It's because we never actually maintain a project for long enough. My fear isn't attracting players per se. It's that 18 months into this Ten Hag project, we go in a different direction. What I'm desperate for is for us to stay the fucking course with one manager for more than 18 months. That's far more problematic that 18 months in, 2 years in, the Glazers go, oh, look at that manager over there. He's doing bits. Let's go and get him. Yeah, but he's not the same style. He doesn't like the same players. It means starting over. Fuck it. It'll be a laugh. That's the way we're run. That's more of a problem for me. What I find frustrating, though, is how we're the only club that spends 5 weeks on a deal, and it's turned into a circus. That's absolutely abnormal. doesn't happen. It's terrible behavior from the football club. And at the same time, the same journalists are writing stories how Liverpool have been working on Darwin Núñez for 4 months. Why is that not desperate then? I don't understand the changing of the logic between those two things.
I think
And
it's
also-
the idea that Frenkie de Jong doesn't want you. And I think it's more that than how long it's taking. I think just that initial nugget of like that seed that came out that he didn't want to come and he's being forced out. I think that's grown and manifested, and it's affecting your fan base a lot too. You can just tell like there's that like he doesn't want us.
It's because our fan base are weak and they live in this world like we're playing FIFA. Football players, their decision making around football isn't based on emotion like football fans. It never has been, and it never ever will be. Football players will agree. So you shouldn't have to convince a player to join. Hang on a minute. Liverpool, PSG, and Real Madrid were all signing Tchouaméni. Does that mean Real Madrid are wrong because he considered other clubs? It's a fallacy. It's an absolute fallacy. I don't even know who created it. It's the weirdest thing in the world for me. Man United aren't desperate. We are on the edge, and I think we're very close to getting a very good deal from the best midfielders in the world. And our rival fans are jealous in that. They're jealous that we're able to still do it after failing for so long. So they try and turn it into a negative. It's as simple as that.
Wait,
Jealousy.
sorry, let me ask you this.
What
Wait, do you honestly believe that Frenkie de Jong wants to join Man United? He wants to leave and join Man United.
I'm not saying he 100% wants to leave Barca. Barca are looked at in a better position. But do I think that when the decision is made, and if you actually read the credible reports from Barca, not so much what's been said in England, they've not been talking money for 3 weeks there. They've been talking Barca want to move on from him. They want to try something different. They want Kessie to come in, and then they want to have a little bit of, they want Gavi and they want Pedri. Of course, academy players. There's a kind of heritage in that and a love, and they want to they're trying to recreate a Xavi and Iniesta situation. I think they want a little bit of Kessie in there because, you know, Kessie could be a little bit of a cheat code in the league. You know what I mean? They want a bit of that P&P, you know what I'm saying? So they're looking to move Frenkie de Jong on. The reason they're looking for the money, by the way, Kessie is a technically gifted football player as well, but you know what I'm saying? They're looking for the money, but it's because if he sits on the bench next year, he goes for cheaper the following year, and they're trying to cash in. It doesn't worry me at all. It's the same as the other report from Ornstein today about Man United. And this has triggered people. Champions League football is not a deal breaker for Christian Eriksen. He will give serious consideration to Manchester United's offer. Again, Spurs. I've said Spurs are the front runners. Spurs are the front runners for him. The Spurs have been the front runners for him all along. Every journalist has said Spurs are leading the way, and we have to understand why. You know, he's been there before. Familiarity is really important. He's also based in London now with his family. It means not moving again per se. I'm not too sure exactly where he's based, but I'm pretty sure he's living in a vicinity to be able to travel easily to training and to games for Tottenham, and they're leading the way. But there is this delusional notion that he won't consider Manchester United. It's, why would I even think about joining Man United? That's the level of delusion in that opinion is.
Can you tell us why? Can you tell us why he's going to consider United? I would just like to hear why you think he
will. Even as a Tottenham fan, I know he will. He's 30. Yeah. He's looking to secure his family's future. Man United are going to offer him a big package, and especially play under Ten Hag. He will go there if he wants the bigger money. He'll go there.
Money's part of it. Sorry. Money's part of it.
I was just going to ask George.
No, go on, Jay. Go on.
I was just going to ask, like, are you counting on him to come back, Jordan, or no? Do you care?
I'm counting on him coming home. I care a lot, and if he goes to Man United, I'm going to be fuming. But I know there's a possibility.
So now I want him to go to Man United. That's what I want.
I like Spurs front runners, but as a comment here says, you know, Terry, he left Spurs for a reason the first time round. Okay, so it was a reason to leave Spurs. And so to answer Colleen's question, if I'm Man United, I'm selling it to him. I'm putting that X is an X for a reason notion into his head. Secondly, Ten Hag is a big pull, one of the most talented I know he's only in his 50s, but he's kind of up and coming in the world. He's moving into the big jobs now. He's an exciting guy to play for. Comes with that Ajax style, which of course Eriksen is going to know and understand. The money that Man United offer him will be very, very good and lucrative, securing his family's future as well. And there is one thing that we missed out in terms of the attractive conversation earlier. I've had this conversation with footballers personally. When I was very fortunate. I met Neves, Jota, the day they signed for Wolves at Wolves. My old job put me in that position. And also Nuno, your ex-manager, Jordan. And I asked them why Wolves are the Champions League teams that went in for them. And at the time, there was a big feeling around Wolves that Wolves were going to try and build a team that could compete in the Champions League. And what they were sold on and they bought into was creating something that hadn't existed at Wolverhampton Wanderers for generations. Yes, they paid them very well, but they also bought into this notion. And when I sat there with these guys, and they weren't chatting nonsense because they thought I was in the media, this was just general chit chat. They were like, I really am excited about what they're trying to do, grow and build here. Now, it hasn't worked out for Wolves. They haven't carried on growing in that direction. They weren't able to spend the money they wanted to, and things haven't quite gone how they wanted. But the idea of being part of a team that could get back to competing for titles and winning trophies again at Man United, it in itself is an attraction. Because if Eriksen and everyone we buy this year was part of a team that in 2 years' time, and don't laugh when I say this, win the Premier League, that is a bigger achievement than winning an FA Cup with Spurs.
It's
Not
not.
not just a title, but a legacy reason
For him,
fame
and-
you get.
Colleen.
Huge.
we're not, Terry, let me tell you why it won't be. For one, he, as you said, he played at Tottenham for the majority of his career. Tottenham's the one team that he spent the most time at. He's a Tottenham fan. He's a Tottenham boy. He wants to come back to Tottenham. And if he does come back to Tottenham, there's nothing bigger than, because when he left Tottenham, the reason he left because he wanted to win trophies. We were willing to offer him any money he wanted. It was quite well documented in All or Nothing. And he just wanted to win trophies. If he can come back to Tottenham and win a trophy under the manager that he just won a trophy with, I don't think there's nothing bigger than that, whether it's a league title with Man United or not.
I call absolute cap on that, my friend. If he wins a league title with Manchester United, it propels him, even in his home country, he becomes one of the most famous Danes in the history. I mean, probably already is because of what happened at the World Cup, but he becomes one of the most famous Danes, one of the most famous sports people in his nation's history overnight. Man United are that big, that potent, that powerful. It's Beatlemania at Man United. And listen, we may not get to that point. This project could fail, it could fall away. I'm not being delusional in that. But in terms of Colleen's question, why would he? That's what he's considering. I still make Tottenham the front runners, by the way. But what I'm annoyed about is this notion of, won't consider it. And there's no logic to him not considering Manchester United. It never makes any sense to me whatsoever.